faces, my body, hand, and soul. Many miles away, I could start a perfect story. I found myself and find no glory. This deceptive world, giving me the sign, giving me the sign. Giving me the sign, giving me the sign.
No, I love that song.
Welcome, everybody. Can I just say before we start our show with our typical intro, Jace is the man. That was a fantastic intro that he has done, and we are going to come back to Jace because he's got a new YouTube channel, and we got to promote him. But welcome, everyone, tonight to the Sci-Fi Queens, where we will explore the female characters and influences in all areas of sci-fi and real science. If you are new to our channel, we ask that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll always know when we're on, and we welcome you. My name is Nita, and this is my co-host, Navia and Sarah, our visiting Sci-Fi Queens.
Hello again.
Yes. How are you doing, Sarah?
I am doing okay. I just finished the movie Under the Wire like in the last 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And Navia, how are you doing?
I'm good. Raining here, so I feel like I want to be in bed, curled up with a good book and like tea, but I'm here instead. No, I'm kidding.
Absolutely. And a good book we will be having a suggestion on for you guys to review and read, and we're recommending that as well. But tonight we're going to be discussing a foreign film called The Cage, where you can find it for free on Tubi. It is in Spanish but has subtitles. Okay, now the synopsis of the movie is that there are two main characters, Eve and Fausto, have lived together under a mysterious eye of an alien presence on an abandoned Earth when they are surprised by the arrival of a third survivor. A plan is created that will change their lives forever. It don't get better than that. Guys, before we go into the movie and go into the characters, I want to hear kind of like the snippets of what you guys thought about it. So Navia, you go on first.
I just have an issue with the summary. What plan? There was zero plan in this movie. I don't know what that summary is even trying to get at. Cause like
that's not correct. There was a plan, but I'm gonna get back to you on that.
What?
Go ahead.
Okay, because I missed that. Sorry, what was your question? I just have such an issue with that summary.
She has issues with the summary. So, what was your first impression, general idea of the movie?
I think us sci-fi queens should never be able to pick movies ever again. We did not like this movie. And
well, not you.
Oh, I picked this one.
Oh, you picked this one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I still like it.
It's not always just me. Nina and I are not allowed to pick movies anymore because this had no plot, no point. The acting was minimal. There was like maybe like 7 lines throughout the movie. There was so much silence. Go on. I really can go on. I don't know if we need this much negativity at the start.
So, Sarah, what were your thoughts? Your quick thoughts on it, without giving too much away, because we're gonna go into the characters and we're gonna go into the plot.
Well, Leah called it from the beginning. She's like, "What is this movie?" And I tried to tell her. I said, "It's like, I don't know." I just went like, "It's post-apocalyptic." She's like, "Zombies," and I said, "No, aliens." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And then she's like, "So it's a guy and a girl," and I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "And then somebody else comes." I'm like, "Yes." She wasn't even watching it, so I mean, it was kind of predictable.
Yeah, it was what we would call here low budget.
Well,
right?
yes, because
I don't know what their budget is in foreign films or how that's done, but that I think in the United States would be considered low budget. There was minimal conversation, and there was a lot of flashbacks that threw me off.
Yeah.
That was confusing.
But the plan that the synopsis was referring to was that Fausto and Eva had plans to try to find her parents. Remember, they were going to get enough fuel to drive and find her parents. But then when the third person came, that wasn't going to happen.
But why wouldn't it though? That's I don't know why it would change.
I didn't understand why the plan changed when she showed up, because clearly they were in love and they had a thing for each other, which was fine.
Well,
but
were they? Well, I doubt that too.
I don't think Fausto and Eva were, though.
No,
I don't think that they were. I think she felt she had no options.
Well, and it's like, from what the flashback that I saw was that he was not a very nice man.
Yeah.
When they were together in the real world, like he was kind of a jerk in his job and in trouble a lot. It seemed like, from what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got to tell you this because this is kind of funny. I watched it on my phone on Tubi, but like every 5 minutes or so, the subtitles would just.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any problems. I watched it and no problems.
Well, that's because you speak Spanish. But I've been taking Spanish, so I kind of got I got the gist of it. Like, if I wasn't thinking about it too hard to figure out what it was like I could. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That I was understanding what was going on and what they were saying.
Where were the aliens? All you saw was a space
in orbit, and then that weird plant.
Yes.
And then the little eye robot drone things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And not for nothing, would either of you leave that cabin? I wouldn't. They had it all there.
I would not.
They had grocery stores closed. They had grocery stores closed. They had their animals that they were farming. It seemed like it was a safe space. They had water. They had a generator. I mean, they had running water. I was like, she turned the water on to take a shower, and I'm like,
I know. Yeah. Okay, like an apocalypse, there's no one to run the infrastructure, but you have water and electricity. Because there's the one point in the movie where he turns on his razor thing.
Oh,
yeah,
but she
showed the generator.
Oh, he's a generator. Okay.
And
so that's what I assumed.
The water probably came from a well. If you have water from a well, you don't need an infrastructure like you're thinking about.
Yeah, but you still do need water. You need power for the pump, though. So
But wouldn't the generator do that?
Yeah. But he was rounding up fuel, and like I figured he was getting fuel for them to stay at the cabin for longer, for the generator or for the cars or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he did what he did, and I was just like,
guys, we're trying to make sense of this movie, and it's just not gonna work.
I know we normally don't go to questions this early, but I think we have a few comments that you want to highlight. And I think we definitely do. Definitely do want to highlight these comments. Go for it.
But first of all, let's just say hi to everyone. Devin's here. Hey, Devin.
Yes, Devin. Always supportive. We love you, Dev. Hey, Jupiter, too.
And Jupiter, too. Hello, Jupiter. And our friend Kristen's here from TikTok.
Hello, Kristen.
Okay, now let's get to the fun comments, because these comments are fun. We have Kristen saying there's only 3 people in the movie. Girl.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I'm telling you.
There were 3 people in the entire movie. There was one other guy, but he was in the back flash, like the
flashback. Well, and then at the end, at the end.
Yeah.
So like, I think
that's a whole nother thing we need to cover later, because that's crazy.
But he really was there in a minimal capacity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Jupiter 2 spent all the budget on the CGI. Nobody left for talking. Yeah.
But there was no CGI.
There was no CGI.
What? The aliens.
There was one ship in orbit. How expensive could that have been?
It was the same take over and over again.
Yes.
The little robot people or the little robot things. That was also CGI.
Oh, yes.
Silly. Yeah.
Oh, wait. And the plant was CGI.
Yeah, and the plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, we need a robot. We need an alien presence of some sort. I mean, you say science fiction. I'm with Leah. Where are the zombies if it's post-apocalyptic? They didn't even
Like,
tell you how
there was no body.
ended.
There was no bodies around. There was no. Oh wait. There was a scene that there was more people, but it was right when the ship first came.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Eva was at the zoo, and it just got all weird, and then it just like went left field, and I'm like, where did that just go? I don't understand what just happened.
It was way too meta for me. My brain does not work that way.
Look, the writer of this movie probably
He's
had like
method.
a day to write it, and they're just like, I gotta put something down on paper, and then submitted it the next day.
Yeah.
And then Devin says, this movie sounds weird.
It's absolutely weird. I had to watch it twice because I thought I missed something. I said, wait, maybe I should be reading the subtitles. Is it me? Ladies and gentlemen, that is the fierce puppy that Sarah has.
Yes. He's chasing the child right now.
And then we have Kristen saying, yeah, I did hear about that one. Yeah, that's a movie I don't really know about. To be
absolutely. Absolutely. This movie was a movie that was my choice, but definitely I think we need Sarah to suggest our sci-fi movies when we do movie
Agreed.
Because we can't,
agreed.
you and I, we just not picking right. We just not picking right.
Here's the issue, Anita. We're like nice people. We're like, let's give these smaller indie movies a shot because no one's talking about it. And they've been doing us dirty. Doing us dirty.
Absolutely. Now, let's go to some images that I have here. This guy is the actor that played Paulo. His name is Juvel Vielma. He's, I have to disagree. The actors did the best they could with what they had. They were not given much.
Yeah, there wasn't a really big script.
No, it was a lot of acting without any words.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess
they did the best they could.
They could, true.
And I think that he felt in a way betrayed by Eva because once the third person came, you could kind of see she didn't want to be with him.
Yeah, well, she was getting it off with Daphne.
But Eva was jealous of Daphne also. Is that her name, Daphne?
Yeah. This is Karina Velasquez. She played Eva.
Yeah, Eva. Because there was that whole scene where she painted them making love and then smeared it with red paint like she was killing them because she was jealous. And that's what I got from it, but it was just really
absolutely strange. I absolutely got that vibe from that.
Hey, knock it off.
And this is Ananda Drosonis. She played the blonde lady. You can't even tell it's her, right? Because she was so platinum blonde in the movie. These are beautiful ladies, beautiful actresses. I think they did the best they could with the material that was given to them. But I have to say, the material was not the best.
No.
It kind of made it seem like women don't know themselves, because here's this woman who is with this man who clearly is a lesbian, who was attracted to the third woman that comes, the third person that comes in and wanted to be with her, but because there was no one else, she just is with this person. I didn't feel like she was bisexual. I didn't feel like she was giving me any other vibe other than I have no options. I have to be with him. Well, you could be in the house with him, but you don't have to be involved with him. And I felt that kind of represented women in a negative way. I wasn't sure that was the right thing. I'm not.
Go ahead. This is Eva, right? We're talking about Eva.
Yeah. I'm talking about her character. I felt like they wrote her character in this kind of desperate way. What are your thoughts, Sarah?
I was conflicted, like how because of the way he was to her in that flashback. I was worried that she was stuck. It's kind of like how she, if she had any other choice, she'd be somewhere else. But they're like the last two people alive, so she's stuck.
Yeah, that's the kind of vibe I got too. I think
And then
just
she didn't
stuck.
want to be with him, but she's like, oh well, we're it. There's nobody else, and I'd rather be with him than be alone. Which I mean, I can understand that. But then she made her own little friends. So
Yeah.
but then but let me address that, because my question was, it was a picture. She was modeling it after a picture of them together when they were happy. Did you catch that? Because she put the scarf and the clothes on him, the clothes on the male mannequin that he wore in the picture, and she put all the things that she was wearing in that picture on the female mannequin. And then when he got all drunk and went on his rager and he smashed all the mannequins, it was like he was destroying their relationship. And then the girls were like this from then on. I mean, it was just
I wanted to answer Kristen's question. The director's name is Jose Salaverria.
Yeah. So it was a man. It was a man.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a man's post-apocalyptic dream.
Yeah.
He's the only man alive, and there's two women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be like some kind of polyamorous relationship develop.
They
were working on that, but
I don't think that was going to happen. I think that the women really wanted to be with each other.
Yeah, well, and that's,
I mean,
three ways. Sometimes they work out, but like Leah, to take the words from the mouth of a child, she's like, that ain't gonna work out.
Yeah, it was clear it wasn't gonna work.
But she thought it was gonna be him and the blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't expect it to be the girl and the girl.
Yes.
But
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
It was.
What I think is misleading about this movie is that they classify it as science fiction, post-apocalyptic, but I think it was more about the relationships. I think it was more like a romantic sci-fi.
It was more. I would have classified it as like a romantic suspense, because he's like, but like not enough suspense,
and not enough like depth in relationships either, because like. Paolo's the guy's name. Was it Fuentes or something? Was his name?
Yes.
He like after he left, Eva was just crying, and then two separate scenes where she's like crying over him, and we're all like, I don't know what you guys were thinking, but I was like, girl, why? Like you didn't like him, you didn't connect with him.
I don't understand why she was crying either.
Okay, so my first thoughts, though, when the blonde brought her food and said, Eva, you have to eat, my thoughts were that she was going the same way that he did before he did what he did, because he was that way. He was he didn't want to eat. So I'm like, well, maybe the machines did something to them. Maybe that's where we're going with it. Because I mean, at least that would be something sci-fi. And I'm like, but then like at the end, it's because she was
a child.
What? Oh, I did not put that together.
It's because she was pregnant, because he was gone. Because at the beginning of the movie, when she starts, like she gets up and she turns the water on, she takes her birth control pill, and it's like the last one.
Oh, okay. I did not.
And then when they were exploring,
and apparently there are no condoms in the supermarket.
Yeah.
Well, and then when they were exploring and they were in the hospital, she stopped and like stood there by the baby bassinets, the empty bassinets, for a long time, and I'm like, she wants a baby, but then she doesn't. And then, then it cuts to the end of the movie, and like there was no plot, no nothing. It's just like 7 years later. And
because at the beginning of the movie, she says like, oh, he's silly, he wants children, but like I can't see how we'll have children or something like that, right?
So here's a question for you ladies. Would you two, or would any one that's join us tonight, male or female, would you bring a child into a post-apocalyptic universe?
Ooh.
Keep in mind that before modern medicine, women died at over 50% during labor.
Yes.
And there are no more vaccinations for polio or anything like that we get as children.
But if there's...
Eva and Daphne seem to have like healthy babies, so maybe we'll all be fine. I don't know.
But there's nobody around to give you anything anyway.
Right, that was my thought too. But then they were out in the middle of nowhere. But then they're exploring
Mhm.
these cities. But like, so it's the apocalypse, but there's no danger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't understand the apocalypse that they were living in. That is the
I
loneliest apocalypse with no danger.
I think that's why it's
So-
called the
so was-
cage, like, because like technically they're like in this like
Yes.
they're like in a zoo, right? Because at the beginning we see a zoo. I think they're also in the zoo, and the aliens are watching them for entertainment. That's kind of what I got from the movie. I don't know if you guys.
Well, yeah, because at the end of the movie, the aliens leave. I don't know if you watched the credits. The aliens leave after like
Yes.
she talks to the boy on the beach, and he's like, Mommy, why are you crying? He's like, I'm sad. I miss your father sometimes. Oh, do you think we'll see him again? Oh, for sure. And then the aliens leave, and I'm like,
wait, do they? I thought they were following them. I guess I didn't finish the movie.
well, no, like the credits rolled, and and like the ships were coming away from Earth, and Earth was in the
Okay.
background. So like they were done with their experiment, I guess. But like, why did they kill everybody else on the planet? Or is it? But then I kind of had that thought, and it just kind of came to me. Is it maybe a metaphor for the rapture?
I thought for a minute it may be some sort of religious, but it
Yeah.
didn't mention that one thing, religion.
Right. Well, they did get
creation
married in a
story.
church, and he was dressed like a
Yeah.
priest.
But that's it. And that was, I think, a dream.
Well, no, it was
yeah, it was real.
it was real. It was just
See, that's
they
what
were
confused
drunk
me.
and getting their smoke on and having a good time.
Okay,
and
so
just
then
kinda-
how religious can that be?
Well,
Drunk
the girl's
against
name is
the
Eve, so I thought maybe this was gonna be an Adam and Eve story. Like everyone is wiped out. The guy's Adam, she's Eve, and the aliens are God, and like they're repopulating the Earth.
Well, it's going to be really hard. I mean, I guess the boy could grow up and
Girl, not
And-
excited. I was like, this is not gonna work.
with the blonde, that's just kind of
That's just no, don't even go there. We so get canceled right now. Don't even go there.
It's so weird.
Canceled. That would be beyond weird. But yeah, that is something that is a very good question. You know, Devin poses a very good question, and he says, that is a very good question. Do we have a responsibility to continue the human species under those circumstances? That is very true. Do we? Because there's only them two. But what if something goes wrong? What if the birth is breached? What if she has complications? There are things that could happen, right? That people don't really think about because modern medicine has made it so much healthier to have a child than it was years ago. I mean, you could develop, gestational diabetes or a heart problem. You can bleed out, or 100 different things can
or
happen.
even preeclampsia, and you have to be on bed rest. Your blood pressure
Exactly.
is too
But
high.
how do you know if you're not a because none of them were doctors? So
No.
how do they get the care they need? And in a post-apocalyptic time, do you really have the responsibility to repopulate the earth?
Heck no.
There
It's
you go.
over.
I'm
what are
sorry.
you
I'm
doing?
not popping babies out. I'm not just gonna. No,
Like,
Good girl.
yeah.
one's enough. Thank you.
If I have to fight for running water, clean water, I'm not having a baby.
Well,
I mean, how do you
'cause
fight
then
with
think about
running water? Oh, 9 months and huge, right?
Yeah.
Well, and then
Yeah.
it's like, and then you have to think about it that if you're fighting to survive on your own, do you really? I mean, I can
Yeah.
understand being lonely and being a mom. I know I wouldn't
Yeah.
not be a mom, but then again, I would worry about having to provide for her, because not only am I,
Exactly.
and then what if I don't take care of myself enough because I'm giving her my food and my water, but then I won't be there to provide, to be the provider, and it's the whole twisted circle that gets.
And I don't know
it's
if
a conundrum.
anybody listening or if Sarah or Navi has ever watched The Walking Dead. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. I watched every series from the beginning to end. And one of the questions that pop up when one of them get pregnant is, what if this baby cries and jeopardizes the entire group, right? Because they were traveling in a
Right.
group, and noise would attract the zombies. And
Yeah.
she made a very good point, you know. And she ends up dying because she ends up needing a C-section because she had trouble with her first pregnancy and it was C-section, and ends up bleeding out and dying because they had to do it under the attack of a ton of zombies coming and hiding, and she goes into like premature labor. You know, there's a
In the
lot of
laundry
things
room
in the laundry room.
with her 10-year-old son.
Who, yeah, it was.
Has to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very dramatic. So yeah, I don't know that I can, do that. Yeah, Devin makes a good point. There is a movie called, um, A Quiet Place,
Mhm.
Oh,
which
yes.
noise attracts these alien beings to attack you, right? And again, I mean, there's a human being coming out of you. Some noise
Yeah.
is gonna happen whether you like it or not. You
But there
know?
are no threats in this world, so I don't know if that's even a relevant question.
Well, it's like, when in the beginning, Fausto's shopping in the grocery store, and then there's like this ominous music, and then the dog walks by. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, what is that? But then
I
like the
thought
dog
something
doesn't
was
attack.
happening.
Like the
Yeah.
dog doesn't attack. Nothing happens. Nothing pops out from behind the door. Like it was. I'm waiting for the jump scare, and
Yeah.
nothing.
There's no point to this movie, period.
No.
Like, what are we supposed to take away from this movie? What did you guys take away? I
Nothing.
took nothing away.
No, and I
Um,
love post-apocalyptic movies and TV shows. I'm a huge fan of them. I watch a ton of them, and I didn't get the point of this movie. I didn't understand
I
what
just thought
the
of something.
alien threat was.
I just thought of something. What if it was supposed to be like the Cage episode of Star Trek,
Mhm.
and that they were in a zoo,
Yeah.
Ooh.
like Nita said, or Nadia said,
Navia. Mhm.
yeah, that they were being observed in this controlled kind of environment and see how they would function and how they would, and it's the mated pair, and then you throw another one in and see what happens.
I mean, that's the only thing that would make sense. But like, why would be still my question? Like, why
Yeah,
are the aliens doing it?
Usually with sci-fi
For
movies.
science.
Well, usually in sci-fi movies, especially post-apocalyptic movies, there's an explanation of what the
Yeah.
aliens are
Mhm.
doing, what's
Yeah.
happening, what have they done. Even if it's just a little bit. I don't know if you guys ever
Well-
seen the
well,
TV
like-
show Colony, where all of these things slowly but surely get explained as to the purpose of the alien attack and why they're separating people the way they are, and there's always a purpose, but there was no purpose to
Mhm.
any of it. Everyone disappeared but these three people, and
And there was no like evidence of them. I mean,
Yeah.
other than the
Yes.
cars, there weren't like bodies or,
and
I mean,
there
I guess it
seems
could be
to
really
be
long time after it, but
yeah,
still.
and to answer Jupiter 2's question, there does not seem to be a part 2 movie, and they
Oh,
should
yeah.
be. There absolutely should be a part 2.
You mean part
A
one,
part 2 for the movie.
or part 2, part 1
Or
A or B,
prequel
so
of
that
prequel.
it finishes the movie.
You know how sometimes you get like the Da Vinci Code, and then you got the second movie, which really was like should have been the first movie. That kind of deal I can see,
No.
right?
They should attempt, because there's so many questions. Like, I would need like a 10 series of these, like 10 episodes of this movie to answer all my questions. There were several parts in this movie where Eva kept going, why us? Why me? Like, why are they saving us? And I thought that's the point where they would jump in and give us a flashback, but no.
No, they'd like jump in and show a flashback of him working, or her at the zoo, or a party or something. And it's like, I did think he was just not a decent human.
No, he really.
Because like,
why is always in these apocalyptic movies the worst people in the world
are the
worst
survivors.
men are the survivors. The most ridiculous women are the survivors. Why not the smart ones?
Well, it's like she had the red dress out. She got the flowers for the table. She spent all day
Yeah.
preparing, and he even brought fruit home and surprised her with a big bowl of fruit. And then he goes off and gets shit faced,
Yeah.
Yeah.
drunk, like drunk. and doesn't even come home. And then he's like, "Oh, hey, baby," and she's like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah. Well, who would want to? I don't.
I know.
Jupiter 2 brings up a good point. Are we sure that this was Earth? Maybe it's a different planet as the zoo.
Well,
But they had the buildings.
Yes, they had the infrastructure of Earth buildings, and the synopsis
Airplanes
is their synopsis. The one I read is their synopsis. I just repeated their synopsis, and it literally says Earth, like our Earth. But I can understand how that is something that would come to question, because at one point I wondered, am I on Earth watching this? Like, are they on Earth? You know?
Ooh, what if this is like parts of Marvel's Thanos like movie where he like snaps?
This had no Marvel in them. Okay, this was Marvel on the budget. Okay, no.
Oh yeah.
No. This was so sadly under budget.
No snap here.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I think this movie had great potential to be a TV show where these questions and development can happen, right?
Yeah.
Where you can go, because, like, in the TV show Colony, which is a sci-fi show, that you don't really get too much of the history of the alien invasion until later on in the first series, almost towards the second, which is okay because you've got character development happening. I think this movie would have been better as at least 3-season
with an arc.
Yeah, definitely 3-season TV show
instead of an 80-minute movie.
Yes. I was like, wow, this is not a long movie.
Well, that's true. Like, if you finish it in time, I'm like, oh, I got 3 hours. I got plenty of time to watch this 80 minutes. I even made dinner.
Well, poor Nina watched it twice.
I had to watch it twice because I thought I missed something. I was like, no way that this movie. Come on, my Latinos from Venezuela. I mean, yeah, come on, Puerto Rican directors. Let's get some movies going. Let's get sci-fi movies going. Okay, what's gonna happen? Post-apocalyptic, Walking Dead in Puerto Rico. Let's see what happens on the island. Come on, that was not good. It was.
I mean, it was very beautifully filmed.
Like,
yes. Oh yeah.
So my thoughts, and I don't know if this is just me, but it almost seemed like it was filmed like on a phone.
Yes,
because it was very like the phone sitting on the table, like propped up, or like they're walking through the jungle, but it's like the shaky camera, like somebody like that's it. So my question would be, was it one of those movies that they made for one of those competitions, like only shot on an iPhone? I mean, I don't know, because that would
end up on Tubi. Camera.
Well,
how did it end up on Tubi though? Tubi, do better.
Tubi's got some low budget stuff apparently.
Tubi, come on now, work with us. The Sci-Fi Queens love getting movies off of Tubi. And you know why, ladies and gentlemen? Because it's free. Because we want the audience to be able to join us and watch these movies. And not everybody has Hulu. Not everybody has the same streaming platform. So of course we want you guys to join us and watch it on a free platform.
Yeah.
But work with us, Tubi.
Yeah. Oh, I want to put up a comment from Jupiter too, because I can't stop laughing at this. They said, can't afford a snap, just like click.
A point and click.
Yeah.
Click.
Yep.
Absolutely, Jupiter. Absolutely. Too hilarious. So, Nadia, we are going to actually now move on to a very special segment called The Real Female Scientist.
I'm going to be done before you get set up.
So today we're going to be talking about Kiara Nirgin. She's a young scientist who's at the beginning of her career. And I wanted to highlight someone young today because I just feel like there's a lot going on in the world and it's really hard for someone to be optimistic about the future. So I thought, let me bring a little hope into everyone's life. And teach you guys about this amazing young woman. So Kiara actually grew up in Johannesburg, South Africa. At the age of 13, she contracted a parasite-induced disease called bilharzia, causing her to lose weight, and she became jaundiced with a weakened immune system. And she developed a series of bacterial meningitis, and she spent weeks at the hospital. It was during this time that she began seriously considering some of the social, economic, and environmental challenges of her country, including efficiency of policies put forth to address the drought. So an important thing to know about South Africa is for the past 30 years, it's been reeling with the worst drought in its history. The agricultural industry has basically taken a huge hit. All their crops have dried up, and many farmers have gone out of business, and the food production prices have just soared astronomically. After Kiara's stay at the hospital, she headed home and started experimenting with super absorbent polymers they're also called SAPs. And these materials are made to basically hold large amounts of water. We currently do have SAPs that are existing and are developed by companies, but the problem with these SAPs is they're very harmful. They use very harmful chemicals, and they're non-biodegradable, and they're very expensive. So, being the smart kid she is, she discovered a unique polymerized mixture of orange peels and avocado skins with the necessary properties to retain large amount of water. The substance she created, which comes in a white powder form, can be added to the soil, which when water is applied, the substance will hold the water and slowly release it over long periods of time, helping the crop stay hydrated even during a dry spell. According to Kiara, it retains the same amount of water as the chemical saps, and it improves the soil quality. And because it's biodegradable, it also increases food security. In theory, farmers can make it themselves. And I really love this quote from her because if we let large companies develop stuff like this, their first thought is how can we make profits? But she didn't have that thought. She just thought, these farmers need help. How can I do this so they can create it on their own without having to buy, from these large corporations? So I love that this is something that was at the top of her mind. In 2016, at the age of 16, she submitted this invention to Google and she won the grand prize. Since then, she's been named Time Magazine's 30 most influential teens. She's one of Glamour Magazine's College Woman of the Year. She's also been invited to address the UN on multiple occasions, including Women's Day. She speaks about the importance of encouraging young girls in STEM. She's also published a memoir at the age of 23 called Youth Revolution, which chronicles her health struggles, developing this polymer and winning the science fair. And she's currently at Stanford University studying computer science and focusing on artificial intelligence and natural language processing. And that is the young female scientist, Kiara. She's absolutely amazing.
Wow, she is amazing
Mhm.
and so young. Young
Yes.
people are contributing to science. Young women are contributing to science, and I think that that's so important. Sarah, you as a mom, how does it make you feel to see these young women being the example for girls like your daughter?
I think it's neat because I think after we get off of here, actually, I'm gonna show her to Leah because I think Leah would like her.
Absolutely.
Because she's interested in science, and she's actually in the STEAM program. It's the same.
Wow.
It's STEM, but they've added art, so it's science,
Yeah.
technology, engineering, arts, and math.
So you're telling me that one day Navia will be having Leah
Yes.
on here, a female scientist?
Maybe. Let's hope.
Yeah, we can interview her. Fingers crossed. Leah, you have to do it because we want an awesome interview.
Yeah.
She'd love to be on YouTube.
Definitely. And does Leah participate with science fairs and stuff like that?
There's going to be a science fair soon, so yeah,
Ooh.
there was a meeting about it this week, so we've got to figure something out. But it's an advanced program here in our town, and it's working well, so that's
Wow.
good.
That is amazing. And that is something that I love to see, that our female scientists are influencing these young girls today to pursue science. Because for so many years, science fiction and science was driven and presented as men. it's not just it's for men and women, for all of us.
Yeah.
And I think that highlighting these individuals is so important. And making sure that they know that they're being seen, and it's amazing. I'm so
The
glad that we're
visibility
doing this.
helps because I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
it's I try and point out those things to her so that she can see that she now has those opportunities where all the
Mhm.
scientists in the past have always, and even like what was that movie, Hidden Figures, where they
Yes.
talked
Yes.
about the women behind the moon launch, and just like they've always been there, they just haven't been able to
haven't
be
been
in the
credited.
spotlight because
So let me ask you guys: have you guys in the audience, or you, Navia and Sarah, have ever used GPS?
Yeah.
That was invented by a woman, a Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody gives credit where credit is due to us women of any culture, of any particular group. And I think it's important that we start to point those things out,
Yep.
and give that attention and give that face to the individuals that have made things possible. What an extraordinary accomplishment to have landed on the moon. Okay. For us as a country, absolutely is something that we heard about, and we hear about the men who walked on the moon, and they did great things and should be spoken of. But let's
what
not
about the
forget
women
the
that
women
got them there?
that made it possible. Even in India, they landed on the moon, um a robot, right? What was it, a robot? And it were a ton of women. I was a huge team, but there were tons of women on that team. A female was in charge of this. And yeah, there's a lot of reasons why the government, put women sometimes in position of authority. Oh, just for show, just for this, but who cares? Let's take those opportunities and make it our own, and show that we as women can accomplish the things that are out there. And not every female scientist that Navia has brought up is a person that comes from means. And I want to make that clear, because a lot of times, yes, the social economical situations do contribute to how is it that these women are able to accomplish certain things. But not every one of those women came from a lucrative background. Some of those women simply had to fight to get what they had, and really study hard.
Yeah.
And I think that that's important to point out.
I think most of the women we've covered, they've only went to college because they're on scholarships and because they
Yeah.
did such amazing things when they're younger.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and that's what makes Navia the perfect person for this segment, because she knows how to look up these individuals and knows exactly what to bring out. And it's women of all ages. I mean, we can say, oh, she's so young, why is she writing a memoir? But this young lady has a lot of life experiences that we can all learn from. And I think that if she can bring about these experiments, and I wish her all the best in her college
Mhm.
endeavors, that will be extraordinary for the planet.
Well, yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. So I hope you guys, the audience, is also enjoying the segment as well. Do we have any comments that we want to look at before we go to our next segment?
We have a lot of comments about the movie Hidden Figures.
Oh, yes.
Devin says he hasn't seen it, but
Oh, you must watch
read
it.
the
It's a
book.
very
Yeah.
good move. It's a
But
very good
he's read the
movie.
book, so I think
Yeah.
that yeah. And then Jupiter 2 says yes, it's a very good movie. If you want something to watch, I was hooked from start to end. Agreed. I
Yeah.
loved
I
it.
mean, that's definitely a movie I think that we should review here.
Oh yeah.
add it to the list.
Add it to the list.
And that's an
Absolutely.
actual good film, so we'll enjoy watching it.
So my suggestion was good.
Yes. Clearly. Okay, let me ask a question to the audience. Who here thinks Sarah should, from here on end, be in charge of movie selections for us to review?
But that's so much
I
fun.
got my vote. We suck, though.
Yeah, but sometimes you gotta throw in some movies because it makes for entertaining.
But I watched some crazy
Conversation.
stuff. Ask
Yeah.
Devin. We watched some crazy stuff. We've watched a few that were just like, maybe he can remind me. I don't know. Devin, I'm asking you the movie about the astronaut. She was the last one there with the computer. You remember what it was called?
Was
Oh,
it Sandra
yes.
Bullock?
I know which one you're talking about. I think I'm thinking of another movie. Nope, she wasn't alone.
Well, it's like she was she was like in the military or something, but then she had to man this computer, but then like something happened and it was like she was in space or something and it was just her and the computer and it was
Devin, I
just
bet you right now is Googling it and is going to get back to
and it was
you.
just I mean we watched it together, so it was just and we're both like
Now, Jupiter says we need the chaos.
Yeah, obviously.
We need the
Chaos is good.
says the chaos queen. Navia, queen of chaos.
Yes.
Hello. Of course she's going to agree with you, Jupiter.
Let me tell you something. Jupiter 2 always has my back. Always.
Always. He's the best. Jupiter is he is our number one fan up in here.
Yes.
He is the best. So we're gonna move on to our next segment, which is our Sci-Fi Queen book recommendation. Can I just say, Jace just knocks it out of the park with these. So I'm going to be bringing you this book recommendation. This is The Science of Star Trek, the scientific facts behind the voyages in space and time. So this book is not necessarily a sci-fi story, but it talks about the science, the real science and the facts behind space exploration and the science behind Star Trek, which I think is really interesting. It's not a big book. It's an easy read. Definitely something that you can like do in an afternoon if you know you're or want to. No more than 2 days, really. It's really not a deep read, but it is definitely interesting because something that always interests me about sci-fi is how much of the sci-fi is real science and how much is it fake science, right? Or fiction science, which is something that is always on my mind when I see some new science fiction movie or read something science fiction. I always wonder how much of that can actually be real. And we see that in sci-fi movies where we see technology today that we saw 20, 30 years ago in sci-fi TV shows and movies. Because our scientists are nerds, are geeks, and they're influenced and say we need to do that. Okay. And those are wonderful things that we can see, and and the technology takes time, but it can happen. So that's really kind of hopeful, and I love that book because it's very informative that way. And I think it's really great. So I definitely recommend.
Is it really technical or is it kind of?
It's not technical at all. It's an easy read, nothing complicated. The author is very good about keeping it simple for everyone to understand. I think, especially if you're into science fiction, it's really an easy grasp. I think that those of us who know sci-fi really can grab certain things in science because we're so exposed to it in what we read and watch and and game. Yeah, definitely. But if you guys have a book recommendation after the show, put it in our comments, because if you put it here, it'll disappear once the show ends, and we don't want to forget to have we don't want to forget that. So definitely let us know after the show, put it in the comments, and we'll definitely look into book recommendation real female scientist recommendation, or if you have a sci-fi movie or a particular sci-fi area that we haven't covered that you would like us to cover, let us know. We will try to make it possible. You know, any comments that we should look at?
Well, Jupiter 2 is saying, y'all are killing my bank. I need a book. But then Kristen gave a good recommendation. Libby is a great option that you can check out if you don't want to purchase books. Also, public libraries, support your public libraries. That's so important. And also borrow from your friend if you can.
Well, I've been getting my books that like the ones that I need to read here or that I want to read from my local library through Hoopla. And that's
Hoopla,
been
okay.
Yeah, and that's been working really good.
Yeah,
wow. I'll check that out.
I was able to get is her name Karen, the author that you had on?
Yeah, Karen Nordine. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got her books through Hoopla through my local library. So
is it H-U-P-P-L-A?
It's Hoop, Hoopla. Yeah. And usually you have to sign in through your local library and you have to put your library card in, and then you can borrow from local libraries. Like I got the Paper Girls. I borrowed it from the Dayton Library.
Yes, Sarah and I did a review of the Paper Girls, and I got the complete series from Google Books. It wasn't, too expensive, and I shared it. But with Google, you have to have an Android phone in order for you to access it, and Sarah doesn't, so she couldn't. And I felt so bad, and she was like, "No, don't worry." She went right in and got it from her local library easily.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and definitely, it's just so wonderful, to read these books and share with you guys all this information. There are some people that I would like you guys to know about, some other YouTubers that have been supportive of our channel, and we want to be supportive of theirs. Jace, starting with Jace. Jace has a new his I recommend that you go and check him out and subscribe. He has great content. He all our thumbnails and all our intros and outros, all of that information he does for us. He does amazing work. If you're someone who actually reach out to him, because he does do it, and that's part of something that he does. He's also with Pop Culture Spread with our friend Rick here, and they do movie and streaming news, and they give it an Aussie twist, which is pretty fantastic. I absolutely love it. And he's also with Jason Roy Gaston. They have a couple of shows on the Jason Roy Gaston YouTube channel that they do together. They're super fun guys. And of course, we will never forget Captain's Quadrant.
No, we won't.
They are just fantastic guys, and they have been supportive of this channel. And can I say that there wouldn't be a Sci-Fi Queen without Jason. It was Jace's idea for Sci-Fi Queens. He was the one who created the show and approached me about it. So he's extremely supportive of us, and it's definitely something that I want you guys to know about him. Okay, these guys, all of these guys are, Jason Borgaston, definitely Joe, supportive of us, and they're just fantastic guys. So if you haven't seen their stuff, definitely go and check their stuff out. Our next show will be December 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be about sci-fi and female fashion and science fiction. Okay, and the different outfits that women in sci-fi wear, and versus the regular outfits that they have worn. I'm going to bring a ton of pictures of different shows and all the different outfits that they have worn, and we're going to talk about that and how it affects the image of women in science fiction and the presentation of how women are looked at. Because even in gaming, women are dressed a certain way,
Yeah.
which if you haven't checked out that one with Courtney and Sarah and I, we did a review on science fiction and gaming. It's in our YouTube channel. Check it out. And we talk about the outfits and we talk about how that affects women. So all of these things may seem silly, but it definitely affects the image of women in science fiction. So we want to thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
And I just want to make a little bit of surprise announcement. You're going to be seeing more and more of Sarah.
Yes.
Sarah, Navi and I have a question, and we're going to publicly ask you.
Uh-oh.
Will you marry us? No.
Will you marry us?
Are we gonna be end of the world apocalypse buddies?
But fun. No. Come January 2024, would you join the Sci-Fi Queens?
Yeah, I could
on
do
a
that.
permanent basis.
Yay!
I could do
On
that.
a permanent basis, you would join the Sci-Fi Queens.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new Sci-Fi Queen. She is no longer visiting.
Woo!
As of January 2024, our newest member. Now, let me just say, yes, we still have
Annie.
Annie, but Annie's working really hard as a nurse.
Yeah.
She is our very true and blue science female right here. And we are going to be making accommodations with our time and schedule, which the girls and I will meet and discuss later on sometime next month, so that it can accommodate Annie being able to join us as well when she's able, and see what our schedules will allow. Okay. But yes. Okay, we've got Sarah for 2024. Woo-hoo! And can I say, Navia, your shirt, is that a Lower Deck shirt? Because
No,
those colors are
not at all.
It looks like it.
It kind of looks like it, doesn't it?
You've been driving me crazy this entire show. She is definitely wearing some kind of sneak Lower Deck shirt. Now Jupiter says, woo woo to Sarah being on. Yes, congratulations. That's how I roll. I do things publicly, ladies and gentlemen. I just do it publicly. But thank you so much. And we will catch you next time on December 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, guys. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our new channel so that you can get notified when new videos come up. Thank you for watching our show.